you often feel like you're battling against yourself with questions such as, why do my moods go up and down so easily? How can I motivate myself? And why do I worry so much? Well, this book could have the answer. The Chimp Paradox gives us a powerful mind management model that can help you become a happy, confident, healthier and more successful person. The book explains the struggle that takes place within your mind, helping you to understand why we do the things we do and how to apply this knowledge to every area of your life. Author Professor Steve Peters is an English psychiatrist who spent much of his career in elite sports, best known for his work with the British Olympic cycling team. He's aided athletes cultivate and develop their minds to be as strong and focused as their physical bodies, ultimately resulting in winning several Olympic gold medals. As a psychiatrist and lecturer, Steve Peters says he's repeatedly presented with questions and statements such as, I want to be more confident in myself. How do I become more successful in what I do? I drink too much. I want to be happy. Why can't I make decisions? I can't control my anger. How do I stop worrying about what others think? And how do I stop overeating? The Chimp Paradox addresses these issues plus many more challenges we face on a daily basis. Throughout our lives, or even throughout the day, there are times when we're our own worst enemy. Sometimes we battle against ourselves when trying to make decisions, break bad habits, or we feel upset and disappointed with our own behaviour. The Chimp management tool uses facts and principles from a psychological point of view and puts them into a simple, easy to understand model which we can implement to improve the quality of our lives. Understanding how your mind works will enable you to control your behaviour, improve the quality of your life, and significantly increase your chances of being happy and successful. It concentrates on the struggle we have with ourselves in order to combat issues such as anxiety, gaining confidence, and handling our emotions. The text focuses on these 7 key areas: your inner mind, understanding and relating to others, communication, the world in which you live, your health, your success, and your happiness. From the outset, Professor Peters dramatically simplifies the mechanics of our mind, helping us to understand what's inside our head and how our mind works. Of course, our mind is a very complex machine, but he tells us to think of it not as one brain, but as a system of 7 brains working together, 3 of which form the psychological mind, and this is what the book focuses on. These 3 psychological brains are assigned the names the human, the chimp, and the computer. The 3 brains try to work together, but unfortunately they very often clash with each other to gain control, and herein lies the problem. The chimp. Think of your chimp brain as the primitive animal brain. It's a very powerful emotional engine, and whether you like it or not, it's something that you were born with. Its main agenda is to preserve its life and that of its species, meaning survival is at the top of the list. The chimp inside you has powerful drives and instincts in order to survive in the jungle. These animalistic approaches to situations result in either fight, flight, or freezing. If the chimp decides to fight, then it will take a situation head on, whereas if it chooses flight, then it will run away. Alternatively, your chimp may simply freeze, do nothing, and hope the threat goes away. These primitive choices may work well in the jungle, but not so much in society. By looking out for its own survival, the chimp will often jump to quick conclusions, think in black and white, and be paranoid and irrational. The chimp is an emotional being that we're all born with and all possess. It thinks for itself and can make its own decisions. The chimp paradox is that it can be your best friend and your worst enemy, even at the same time. The human. The human brain, on the other hand, has the objective to achieve self-fulfillment. It aims to become the person you want to be and achieve the goals in life that you want to achieve. It will establish the facts and use all the information available before reaching a decision. The human brain tries to establish the truth based on its beliefs, whether it's a serious matter or something trivial. Traits of the human thinking are evidence-based, rational, in context and with perspective, and able to show shades of grey with balanced judgment. The human is open-minded and has the ability to change its mind to see someone else's point of view. It will search for proof, use common sense, get perspective on a situation, and come to a sensible conclusion. The computer. Think of the third part of your mind as a storage area. From birth, the computer is fed information by the chimp and the human using both conscious and subconscious thoughts. It can then use this information to act automatically and serve as a reference point using thoughts, beliefs, and values. This can be useful for getting us through the day by completing tasks running on autopilot. However, our consistent thoughts and behaviours become embedded in the computer as habits and beliefs. It's therefore crucial to ensure our chimp and human are feeding it the right kind of information. How efficient our computer is depends on the information our human and chimp feed it. Our three brains, the human, the chimp, and the computer, function in very different ways in different situations. So you can start to see how this may cause problems. The different ways of thinking very often causes conflict between our human and chimp, making us fight with ourselves and struggle with different circumstances. The human and chimp have very different agendas, operating in different ways following very different principles. The main issue is that most of us don't realise what's going on in our own head, which can result in us flying off the handle, then later regretting how angry we get. The ongoing conflict between your human and chimp brains can torment you with anxiety and leave you puzzled as to why you can't gain more confidence or be the person you want to be. Either of our two thinking brains, the human or the chimp, can make decisions for us and walk us through life. They try to work together, but this is where issues arise. The chimp is far stronger than the human and reacts much faster, therefore overthrowing the human in the heat of the moment. The main objective of the book is to understand our chimp, recognise when it is taking hold, and instead use that strength productively to ensure we create the life we really want to live. It will help you refrain from jumping to conclusions, assist you in curbing bad habits, and give you the power to pursue the qualities you wish to gain. There's a great example in the book which I'm sure will resonate with many of you. It illustrates how our chimp and human can react and deal with the same situation very differently. Let's say you're driving to work and someone swerves in front of you, cutting into your lane and almost resulting in an accident. Your chimp, with its need for dominance and territory, may start to scream and shout at you. You get fired up and immediately want to get your own back on that stupid driver in front. You drive as close to them as possible, flashing your lights and beeping your horn, shouting and screaming at them to ensure they know what they've done. The driver ignores you, which just intensifies your anger even more. You need to be heard and you're not letting them get away with this. After several miles, the driver turns off and you're forced to continue to work, otherwise you'll just be late. You arrive at work in a bad mood and your colleagues are quick to notice. You rant about the incident and this feeling of agitation continues throughout the day. Instead of having your undivided attention, your workday is compromised by that underlying feeling of injustice. You may be quick to fly off the handle at someone because your patience is running very, very thin. Later you finish work and you drive to meet a friend. On the road you're extra vigilant of anyone else trying to belittle you, and God help them if they do. You finally arrive and see your friend, where she asks how your day went. Of course, she also gets the pleasure of hearing the full drama about that idiot driver. After listening to the whole ordeal, your friend says, "Oh, don't let it bother you. Try to forget about it and just enjoy your evening." By this time, your chimp is now exhausted. It's let out its aggression throughout the day and finally started to calm down. Your less powerful human brain now has the chance to come into play and you start to gain a logical perspective on the whole situation. You realise how silly it was to let that one stranger ruin your whole day, and you reply, "Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I let these things get the better of me. I know I need to calm down a bit, but these people just get me so angry." Now, if you knew methods to control your chimp, then the situation could have gone very differently. In the same scenario, your human brain could have approached the situation with perspective, appreciated the fact that an accident wasn't caused, and understand there's no point getting riled up by the experience. The only outcome of getting angry is either arguing with the other driver, which could potentially result in much greater consequences, or stewing on the whole experience all day, which will just impact your work, could tarnish your relationships, and will just waste your day feeling stressed and angry. Now, I know it's easy to say, calm down, you shouldn't get so angry, just let it go, but in the heat of the moment, I know it's not that simple. This is where the battle begins. If the human brain rejects the chimp's way of thinking, then the chimp will continue to go crazy and it just becomes a tug of war between you and the chimp. However, the Chimp Paradox helps us to understand the chimp in all of us, how to reason with it, calm it down, and let our human brain take control. You do not have to follow your emotions. You have a choice. The secret to a happy life of fulfillment is learning how to live with your chimp. To do this, you need to understand why it thinks and behaves the way it does. We all have different personalities and we all have different chimps, some of which are insecure and need regular reassurance, whereas other people have more dominating chimps and need a socially acceptable outlet such as sports or games where it can fight to become champion. The chimps within us may have one or more primitive drives that need addressing, such as power, territory, ego, dominance, sex, food, security, inquisitiveness, or parental drive. Looking at this list and thinking about your own personality will enable you to see which areas play a big part in your own chemistry. Once identified, you can then use the book to effectively manage your chimp and point your life in the right direction. The road rage example we looked at just now illustrates how a dominant chimp may behave, but not all of us would react in this same way. We all have different chimps and they all need to be dealt with in their own way. Some of us have the habit of continually searching out and focusing on potential negative outcomes with thoughts like, what if? Worrying about things and amplifying little problems as if they're life and death situations. How many times have you been too scared to do something? You want to do it, but just can't muster the courage to move forward. Or what about the times when you know in your head what the right thing to do is, yet you still find yourself making bad decisions? Or have you ever found yourself snapping at your partner or a friend for a remark they made, only to regret what you said later in the day? Well, these are all typical chimp behaviours, and once identified, you can start to effectively manage your chimp and take control. Every day we're bombarded with information from all around us, the things we see, hear, and experience, etc. How we decide to use that information depends on which part of our brain takes control. Both the chimp and human will interpret our experiences very differently. The chimp, being driven by emotion, will make rash or paranoid decisions, often filling in the blanks and easily becoming defensive if challenged. Of course, sometimes our chimp can be very beneficial. Think about those times when you've had a gut feeling about someone or something, or instinctively made a quick decision which has saved you from a tough situation. However, driven by emotion and basic instincts, the chimp doesn't help us very much when we're trying to fit into society, foster relationships, or guide us to reach our personal goals. It's far better to let your human take the wheel, knowing it will work in a logical manner, gathering the facts, listening to other people's points of view, creating systematic plans of action, and coming to coherent conclusions. Professor Steve Peters explains that willpower alone is not an effective way to manage your chimp. It's much stronger than your human and will just overrule it. This results in a continuing battle, leaving you questioning yourself and feeling disappointed. Instead, Peters gives us various exercises to effectively manage our chimps so we can get a handle on situations, cultivate the relationships we want, and continue to develop personal growth. The Chimp Paradox goes into much greater detail explaining the tug of war we have with ourselves, why we think the way we do, and how we can recognize our destructive behaviors and then manage them effectively. The book also focuses on our communication with other people, how to deal with the world we live in, and further development of our physical and mental health, using some great examples that I'm sure will no doubt resonate with you as they did for me. It's definitely worth the read, so if you're interested in getting your hands on the book or listening to the audiobook, then I've dropped some links in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos coming soon, and I'll see you next time.